So I saw Annabelle Creation, which is a prequel to the prequel of The Conjuring, which also has a sequel. It turns out this is from David F. Sandberg, who made the movie Lights Out. It's hard to think this is from the same director, as the two films are so far apart in terms of competency. Lights Out was awful, and while some of that was definitely from the terrible script, a large amount of blame could also be placed on the direction too. Compare that to Annabelle, where it's competently made, with a half-decent script. And I can't help but think the director must have had some kind of help, or maybe he learnt a lot from Lights Out. I wish I could learn from my mistakes. I don't think it's even half as scary as some people are making out.
I teared up more than a couple of times.
Really?
I was like, oh man, yeah, I was like, oh, that was freaking terrifying.
We really should take a moment to appreciate how freaking scary this movie is.
But I did find it had a few small parts of mild tension. Mild tension in a horror movie, yay! One thing that's really important in horror films is the characters, and they're done reasonably well in Annabelle. At least they never said they have a family. How could they? They're orphans. I thought the acting was solid throughout, with the two leading girls bringing a lot to the roles. If you enjoy the other films like The Conjuring or Ouija Origin of Evil, I'm sure you'll enjoy this too. I thought the first half was enjoyable enough, if a little light on the story, but the second half unravelled and became a bit silly, which is often my complaint for many of these films. After all, this is yet another incredibly generic horror film. If you're looking for a good horror film, there's a lot better out there. I even did a list of about 20 great horror films, watch those. But if you like by the numbers supernatural horror, that's great. A lot of people seem to like these movies. It must be the overuse of jump scares.
And next thing, it's out of the water and he's gone.
When Annabelle started, I honestly thought they were going to go easy on the jump scares. The first few only had the noise from what was happening in the world, like a door rattling or something. It was good, but they soon started adding musical stings to their jump scares, and there were far too many. They also telegraphed them with this little rumbling noise. I was predicting the jump scares with pinpoint accuracy. A good jump scare is really hard to achieve, but the cheap ones that startle you for a moment, they're easy. It doesn't take skill, it doesn't have to be scary. Don't believe me? There's even a jump scare video with Barney the dinosaur. How scary can that be? Why don't you try it and find out? Truth be told, I didn't find the scares in Annabelle too annoying, and I even found a few of them funny in how ridiculous they were. None of them were as hilarious as the umbrella opening jump scare from Rings though. I don't know, I just don't find ghost films scary. The ghosts don't have any real presence in the films.
Even though we can't see God, we can feel His presence. Well, in this house, I feel a different kind of presence.
How many are there?
36. Counted them myself.
The ghost always starts small, like knocking over a glass, and it will ramp up throughout the film, and by the end it's pulling people's heads off. I understand that's done for pacing and tension, but there's no reason the ghost can't just start killing people at the start of the film. Why wait until halfway through before you start the killing? There's just no reason for it. And the ghost in Annabelle is in 2 or 3 places at the exact same time. I guess it's a supernatural demon thing, so whatever. They also do that thing where a ghost puts its hand on the window for some reason. I swear, every time there's a ghost in a film, they always put their hands on a window. Maybe windows are like magnets to the supernatural. I understand some people find dolls scary, you know, weird people. But they push the design to be so scary it loses any semblance of being a realistic doll, and so no longer has that creepy doll effect. It's like the new It film. They tried to make the clown as scary as possible, but people scared of clowns no longer find it scary because it doesn't look like a clown anymore. They've tried so hard to make it creepy, it loses what people found creepy about it in the first place. There was also this moment when this guy was looking at a picture and this nun popped up at the side of the photo. I think it was meant to be the nun from The Conjuring to promote the Conjuring cinematic universe. It was quite silly how they did it, and it took me out of the film. It was like one of those pictures that change when you turn it from side to side. Some of the characters act really weird, like some of the girls getting scared in the house before they have any reason to be. The man seems to be making his best effort to be as intimidating as possible for no reason. Step 1. Invite some orphans into your house. Step 2. Scare the crap out of them. Good job! There's a scene where the lights are going out one by one, and this woman puts a tremendous amount of effort into keeping the last light on, rather than using all her energy to escape the room to safety. Why the ghost would bother taking out these lights one by one, I have no idea. Or what about when something hideous runs under your bed, leaving dirty footprints everywhere? You've got a scary demon under your bed, so what's the best thing to do? Go to sleep, of course! And then when the character wakes up in the morning, you don't get to see if the footprints are still there. I wanted to know if the ghost cleaned up after itself. I will say you absolutely do not have to see the first film to understand and follow this one. There was a 5 or 10 minute sequence at the end which was a little bit confusing, but I presume it was to connect this film to the original. But it was kind of lame and wasn't needed. I guess I'd rate this as a, well, it exists. It's made competently and there aren't any major flaws. It's just a generic horror film and you can get the exact same experience from a lot of the other movies. There's nothing offensive or strong about it that would turn off casual viewers. I found it quite generic and a bit boring. So yeah, I guess it exists. Stick that on the poster.